Well, I didn't see this coming. What is up, Finn fans? If my voice sounds crappy, well, I was up all night last night with the baby, and I wake up to the Miami Dolphins have fired Brian Flores. I honestly was going to make a full video talking about Brian Flores, talking about how he's done with the team and, starting 1-7, but finishing, winning 8 of 9 games and all that stuff. Like, I had a full video planned of what Brian Flores has done. Like, I was going to put out the year in review today, but I needed to wait for the stats to come out because they took forever to come out and stuff, because I wanted to give you updated stats on how players have done. And I wake up and I see this. Let me read the statement from the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins announced today that head coach Brian Flores has been relieved of his duties. Flores completed his third season as head coach with a 24-25 record. I made the decision today to part ways with Brian Flores, said Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. After evaluating where we are as an organization and what we need going forward to improve, I determined that key dynamics of our football organization weren't functioning at a level I wanted it to be, and felt that the decision was in the best interest of the Miami Dolphins. I believe we have a talented young roster in place and have the opportunity to be much better in 2022. I want to thank Brian for his hard work and wish nothing but the best in his future. Flores was named the 13th head coach on February 4th, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Stephen Ross ain't playing around. Normally, Stephen Ross's history has shown that when it's time for you to move on from a coach, Adam Gase, Joe Philman, all these types of coaches, he's kind of gave them that extra year to prove that he can fix something. Well, he didn't do it with Brian Flores. I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked. I did not see this coming. As much as he has struggled in the beginning of the year, as much as some of his decisions as the head coach were very questionable, and we're going to get into that, did not see them moving on from Brian Flores due to the fact that they won 7 straight and then just beat the New England Patriots. You would think that he'd be like, all right, you fixed your mistakes. Let's see if you can keep going with it. Now, the elephant in the room, the thing that everyone's going to be talking about. Who came out and said that they were interested in coming back into the NFL? Jim Harbaugh. Did he do this because he's going to make a full push to sign Jim Harbaugh as the head coach? That is something that we're going to be talking about. That is something that I'm going to be making videos about. Now I'm going to be making videos about a potential head coach replacement. I'm telling you, I have even more videos I'm going to be making. But yeah, today was the day. Me and Big O talked about it, and I said, we'll see what happens Monday. But yeah, let's talk about Brian Flores, right? I don't put his record in 2019 against him. I actually put it, I think it shows how well of a coach he is, because he had a practice squad. They tore the team down in 2019. Traded Tunsil, traded Minka, traded Kenyon Drake. They built assets, and he still won 5 games with a practice squad. Bringing in players, bringing in Sealer, Nick Needham was getting his start. All these players that are now actually helping the team. So the 5-11 record, I don't really put against him. So, he has a 24-25 record. I take that first year and I don't really make that an assessment of how he's done, because a lot of people want to say, like, he has the same record as Adam Gase, blah, blah, blah. But I don't see that first year as a deterrent or put it against him. Then he goes 10-6. Everyone was surprised. Very quick turnaround. Defense was the main reason they did that. And then this year, I think this year is the reason they moved on from him, because of some of the questionable decisions that he made as a head coach. That 1-7 start had a lot to do with him. You could talk about the quarterback position, you could talk about a lot of things, but a lot of it had to do with questionable decisions as a head coach. The one that I talk about the most is it took them so long to realize what they needed to do on defense. So many games they could have won if they were running the style of defense they started to run on a 7-game winning streak. You had Xavier Howard coming out and saying that they asked him against the Buffalo Bills, held the Bills to 3 points for 2.5 quarters. What was different, X? Why all of a sudden did this happen? And he said, well, we started calling 2020 Miami Dolphin defense. Why did it take 7 games, Brian Flores, for you to realize the defense isn't doing what they need to do, especially against Tampa, against the Colts, against the Falcons, even against the Raiders, where you let them come back in that game. If the Raiders, the Colts, and the Falcons, Jaguars, they held them to 20 points, so I'm not necessarily saying the Jaguars game, but those 3 games are big because you play the defense you did against Baltimore, against the Patriots. You play that defense, you probably win those 3 games, 2 of the 3 at least. And all of a sudden you're in a different position. Brian Flores doesn't get fired. Then you look at the offseason moves, getting rid of Kyle Van Noy, getting rid of Bobby McKean, getting rid of Eric Flowers, not bringing back Ted Karras, thinking you can start the season, thinking you can go into the season with an offensive line that has a bunch of first and second year starters that are going to struggle. That right there in itself is the main reason why the offense struggled. I know people are going to say, no, it's because of Tua, blah, blah, blah. I got a video planned for that. I still have my Tua Tagovailoa video, and now it's even more interesting being the fact that Brian Flores isn't there, but I already have that video happening. But the fact that he made the moves he did, especially on the offensive line, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that should be on Chris Grier. Chris Grier doesn't have control of the 53-man roster. Brian Flores has control of the 53-man roster. Essentially, Brian Flores says to Chris Grier who he wants, and Chris Grier goes and gets him. They have a conversation. Brian Flores is like, I'm going to move on from You honestly think that Chris Grier as a GM is going to let Kyle Van Noy and Eric Flowers play for another team, specifically a division rival, and pay them to do that? Kyle Van Noy is getting paid by the Miami Dolphins to play for the New England Patriots. He would look incredibly dumb if he decided that he was going to do that. So those are the moves that were questionable. Those are the moves that hurt the Dolphins in that 1-7 losing streak. And you got to look at see if Chris Grier is the next on the chopping block. I don't know. I think it might have happened already. But how much money, how much assets went into this team? How much draft picks? And you went 1-7 after going 10-6. I think that is the biggest thing. I think at that point, going 1-7, Stephen Ross was like, I think I'm going to have to fire Brian Flores. And then he goes on a 7-game winning streak. And I think the only thing that was going to save his job was making the playoffs. And then he goes into Tennessee, where I told you guys I recorded that video Thursday night, but I wrote down, like I do my research the day before, so Wednesday, that it's going to be cold, raining and snowing, and windy. And their game plan was to push the ball down the field. We're going to throw it. What? That was their game plan. Barely ran the ball. You saw a few, but then all of a sudden against the New England Patriots in a situation where the weather isn't, well, actually the weather was bad. They learned their lesson against Tennessee and New England, against New England at home in the pouring rain. They decided we're going to run it and get about 200 yards and limit to barely throwing it for 100 something yards and a touchdown. And they won. They won that game. They went up 17-0. They went up, I think, 20-3 or 24-7 at one point by using that strategy. But they didn't do it the week before against Tennessee. No, we're going to have to throw it 30-something times in horrible weather that he doesn't play well in the cold because he barely plays in the cold. Smart decision. And also bringing in 2 offensive coordinators and bringing in an offensive line coach who is new, never has done that before. There's a lot of questionable moves that Brian Flores made. Now, that is probably why he has been fired. But on the flip, you got to see a lot of good that Brian Flores did. Winning those 8 out of 9 games. Big turnaround. Going 10-6 his second year. Going 5-11 his first year. He does know how to coach that defense. He does know how to get the players to play for him. He's a good head coach. I'm not going to say he's a bad head coach, and I'm not going to say he deserved to get fired. That's why I'm pretty surprised that he got fired. But it's like, if you asked me before today, what are the chances Brian Flores gets fired? I would say about a 25-30% chance. I'd say about, 75-70% chance he stays. So I kind of saw it as a possibility, but I didn't see it happening. I thought they would be like, all right, you won 8 out of 9, fix it. Show us that you can build that offense. Show us that you can bring in a veteran offensive coordinator. But no, pretty crazy. But I still have a lot of videos planned. Obviously, I'm going to do the year in review for tomorrow. So you're going to get 2 videos tomorrow, Big O show and the year in review. Because, like I said, I was waiting for the stats to come out so I can give you guys full breakdown stats of how the team did this year and yada yada. And now it's going to be even more of a discussion because I have a video coming out of who that next head coach is going to be. I'm going to have a video. I have so many more videos now. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow if more news happens. Like if they fire Chris Greer or something, you're going to get a video from me. But on that, guys, Miami Dolphins move on from Brian Flores. Big shocker for me. I don't know if it's a shocker for most of you. But, yeah. I'll see you guys maybe soon, maybe tomorrow. But like usual, guys, stay classy. Fins up.